Hey, this is Rick Wilson, Studio Bug. Glad you're here. Let's get into it. Some had it better, but we didn't know it. If times were hard on mom and dad, they didn't show it. You see, life was good as it could be for a little boy growing up in Selma. That little boy was me. Hey, this is Studio Bug. Glad you're here. Listen, last week when I was talking about a few things, I talked about the going blank here. Oh, behind Edgewood School. That was Sam Foster. I think it was Sam Old Foster. Anyway, I'm going to do some videoing and clear up a few things. So let's do that right now. I was right. This is Sam O. Foster Senior's baseball field. That's where I pitched a game for the city championship. We ended up losing, but what great memories it was for it to end up like this. That's just really sad. And this was where the NCR, which is the National Cash Registers building, where Mr. Scrushy, who was my baseball coach at the time, that's where he worked. That was Jerry and Moran Scrushy's dad. One of these buildings was where the slot car building was, and we had a lot of fun in there just watching. Around the corner was the Dixie Barber Shop, and I'm going to try to slow this down for you just a little bit so you can see it. It's up in that hole, you see it? And that other, there's two doors back in there, and the other door was, I think, a ladies' salon. And that's where the Dixie grocery store was, but I think it's a private club now. This is the old glass house. I have a lot of memories. We ate breakfast in there quite a bit, me and my brother. And this was the Pizza Pronto, where you could bowl and play pool and eat pizza, and then go right across, and then that was the old theater. But anyway, yeah, you can't do that anymore. It's all gone. And I looked all over the internet for a picture of the old armory. Couldn't do it, so I drove down there and took a picture of it. There it is, right there. Okay, well, I hope you kind of enjoyed that recap of last week. I just felt like I needed to show you some of that stuff, what's happened to it, and it's a shame on a lot of it. I mean, you know, that old picture of the old armory, they're just going to let it fall in, I guess. The old baseball field. Anyway, you may be from Selma if you ever had cloverleaf delivered to your house. We did. We used to get dogs and stuff that would tear up the cartons, so Daddy had them. They had a little aluminum box that they would open that box up and put our milk in. Me and my brother and my sister, we drank a lot of milk. So we had one delivered. I think it was every other day, every day. I don't know. I can't remember. If you remember the Christmas lights that went all the way across the street at Selma, you could go. What was fun was to go over the bridge and see all those lights go all the way down. If you remember the floods, we've had a lot of floods in Selma. I know we had a really, really bad one in 1920. Also, I think it was in 62. Daddy took a lot of pictures, but unfortunately back then it was real popular to take pictures using slides. Well, there's not a whole lot I can do about showing you pictures for slides, but if I find some, I'll try to change them over, but that's kind of difficult to do. But if you remember Pat Nixon riding down Broad Street, you remember that? I do. She was in a parade. I think it's when Nixon was trying to get to be president. Did you ever drink water from the artesian well? Where? Well, there's two places. You can drink artesian well out there at Cahaba, or you can drink it at Ken's Country Store. I don't remember the real name of it, but it was out 219 Ken's Country Store. I got a picture of me and my wife. We used to ride motorcycles out there and drinking. By the way, I'm not doing 25 today. I'm only going to do, because this thing is already dragging out pretty long. Let's do 10. I'm to 6 now. Yeah, remember when the Flower Basket, which is on Citizens Parkway there, when the Flower Basket was a donut shop, that A-frame looking building, you know, it's the Flower Basket. It's Mac and his wife owns that place. Okay, Mac Wilkerson. Anyway, if you remember what the name of it was, write it down for me, because I can't remember what it was. But I bet you know this one. When in front of Gibson Shopping Center was Jack's Hamburger. You remember that? It was Jack's Hamburger for a long time, and then the guy bought it. Let's see, the guy bought it, the Golden Ranch, and he started his business. He moved it. I remember he was over on, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think he was over on Dallas Avenue first, and he had a restaurant over there, kind of, I think it was in one of the gas stations or something. Then he moved it over here to on the Citizens Parkway where the old Jack's was, and then he moved it out on Highland, North Highland. Anyway, which is closed now. I hate it. I'm gonna show you a picture of that in a minute. But I hated that. But here's one. Did you ever visit the zoo in Selma? And you say, well, where was that? Well, if you go back behind Block Park and you go to the septic system, what was that called? Man, what was that called? The settling ponds back there. Where when we were kids and we had cars, we would ride around it on that concrete that was at 45 degrees. We'd ride around that thing. You remember that? I do. Oh, I mean, no, we didn't do that. We would have never done that. I wouldn't want to give anybody ideas, but we never did that. That was back behind Memorial Stadium at the settling pond. It's fun. Did you ever listen to Rick Carter play? I did. He taught me how to play a couple things. Did you ever listen to Kevin Derryberry play? I did. We used to play together quite a bit, actually. Did you ever listen to Telluride? I never played with Telluride, but I did know Kevin and Rick. Did you ever listen to John Reese at the crossing before it burnt down? Did you ever buy one of his pins? He used to say, he used to sell little redneck pins for you to put on your cowboy hat. You remember when in Selma it used to be real popular to try to be a cowboy? Because I bought me one of those big old cowboy hats too, and I ran into Brian Hughes, and I said, "Are you gonna buy you?" He said, "No, man, I'm an Indian." I thought that was funny. Let me tell you something else Brian Hughes did. I was walking into the courthouse one day, and I hadn't seen him probably in 20 years. And he was on the other side of the courthouse walking, I think that's where I forgot, it's an official building, FBI building or whatever. And he hollers across the street at me. I said, "Hey, Brian." And he looked at me and said, "Hey, Rick, when did you get out of prison?" I ain't never been in prison. I felt about that tall, and all these people are looking at me like, I don't. That wasn't funny. I didn't think it was funny at the time. I did think it was funny. I would have never done it to him though. All right, here's the last one. Did you ever have Dr. Howarth work on any of your animals? I had him work on my cats, my dogs, everything that I had. And actually he and Graham and Ken and Debbie and all of them used to live right across the street from me on Bienville Street for the longest time. We enjoyed, hey Ken, if you're watching, man, I miss him, and I miss all y'all. But it's so good to see you. If you're there, you can wave at me. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm going to let my Granny tell one now. It's again, if it's the one I'm thinking about, it's about Mr. Cason again and him dying with TB. But anyway, I'll talk to you in just a few minutes. Let's do it.
How did he die?
Well, he had TB. He died.
Did Uncle Willie, you think, catch TB from him?
I believe he did. I believe
And you know the doctor says Moan's lungs are all scarred up from old TB scars.
How old was Uncle Willie?
And she never, nobody ever
He was just a
did.
young man.
37. He died with TB.
I didn't know you could catch TB.
Yeah.
You could back then. I believe both sisters caught it from him. She had 2 or 3 sisters die with it. None of the rest of them never had it. But that's what he had. He was sick several days before he died. But he had gotten better. I reckon it's called he's sick. I remember when he died, Mom told me to go over there and tell Willie. Willie's old Uncle Jim Williams is a sharpening an axe on the grindstone. I went over there and I run so I was out of breath and I couldn't tell him. Finally, Aunt Fanny got enough out. She said, Jim! Oh, come out there, Cason's dead. That's just what she said, Cason's dead. And Willie said, I never will forget when he died. Said, I stopped over there at the spring and cut March the 4th on it. That was the day he died, 4th day of March 1914.
Well, Cason's dead. I don't think anybody was real upset. The kids weren't definitely not upset about Cason being dead, but TB in 1914 around that area was a terrible thing to have TB back then. They just didn't know how to fight it. Granny's stepsister, she had several sisters that died with TB. There were Granny's. She had a couple of children that died. I'm not sure if it was TB, but it was around that same area. So it was actually, I think, in the 20s that they died. But TB was a terrible, terrible thing back then. Anyway, on a lighter note, I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. And I will see you next week. Oh, wait. Peace away. You know I know where you live. Later, dude. Good dance.